So, Bear, can you believe that this year will be 17 years that we've been together?
It's it's very hard to believe because it feels like it has been forever, and at times very doesn't feel that long.
Like, not 17 years. That sounds like
And
I,
especially with our age.
right, right,
We're I'm gonna be barely mid 30s.
right. And I'm going to be 31 this year. So, 17 years is like more than half of my life, which is pretty crazy. But it's been a great experience. It's had its ups and its downs. But I think we've definitely learned a lot. And I know I really have learned that our marriage is about oneness. I really understand it more than I think when I was younger. I don't think that concept was really something that I didn't really think about. I knew marriage was a partnership, but when you put it in a perspective the way God designed it, it's really about oneness.
And I've always had that same belief in my heart as far as what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is a very sacred thing that people take too lightly. They
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's that big of a deal, and not they don't realize what you're kind of doing, and
Like the promise you're making is,
it's
it's a
for it's
lifelong
under
thing.
God,
Yeah.
it is under God, and I don't, I think it's very important because if you can't keep about like at least one other person in this world,
Mm-hmm.
like what are you really gonna be putting forth in your life as you grow, as a person, you have dedication and on working hard towards a relationship should be what we do with everybody we encounter in life. It should be a positive experience altogether,
Functional,
and but
obviously.
definitely very
I'm, you
functional,
know,
and it's just chaotic anymore, and people have none of those values, and they prefer to be alone, and I don't.
Maybe be rebellious because they don't want to be told what to do. Like
Yeah, it's about
that,
submitting
yeah,
and being
that
humble.
concept of submission to someone is like they look at it as like, well, I don't want someone to be in charge of me, and that's not what it is.
Or
It's
it's on
not.
like based on what my terms are,
Right, exactly.
and it don't work.
I don't. But maybe that's why the few, people our age or that get married, that it doesn't really last is because maybe they're getting married for like the wrong reasons,
And
not for
generally,
like,
I think I agree that's what it
yeah.
would be. And it's also the thing is a lot of people do it selfishly.
Right.
They want to have a selfish
What
marriage
can
where
I gain out of it, or what do you have to offer me?
because I deserve everything,
Right.
right? Without having to do my
Right.
half or
But what are
part.
you going to,
I'm
do
entitled
for
to it.
me?
I'm
Yeah.
entitled to it. In other
Yes.
words, yes.
and and it's something that obviously it's a two-way street. You have to give and receive, and it's something you can't just go into expecting to just get and not really do anything. um
And that's the importance of even studying the Bible. All those principles that it speaks on is true. It is a true path that it can be done,
mhm.
and the whole concept is basically servitude, doing for others, and especially with your spouse and family.
Because it does for when you do for others, it does for yourself too. It
It
really
does heal the
benefits you.
soul, and
It
it
benefits
makes
you.
makes you.
And it's a purposeful life. I feel like it's a satisfying life when you do for others and you feel that's something you accomplished, and it feels very fulfilling.
And the world it definitely would function if everyone was more selfless, But
Oh, definitely.
they lean towards the selfishness, and that when it becomes that, it's only singular, and the world stops functioning as we know it,
Mm.
And it's that goes for all relationships, There's gonna be rough times. There's not gonna be perfect moments all the time, and there's gonna be those moments that are absolutely perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, and whether it's the good moments or bad, you got to stand strong as a unity, as a
Mm-hmm.
pair, especially if you do dedicate yourself in marriage.
Because you're in it together, and
It,
you have to get through it together.
and
You
if you
know.
turn on your other half,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably not going to have very many good friends or people in your life, or you're gonna be a friend that's a flake.
And I have seen that people who can't maintain any really healthy relationships, it becomes an issue.
And everyone starts experiencing that same issue.
Right, and everyone feels that same maybe loneliness and disconnect because they are like it's them against everyone else basically.
Yeah, and they also, that affects their trust with other people.
And I get that. Yeah, that's a hard thing too, and it just makes it worse. So that would definitely be an issue. But even with God, He designed marriage to be a unity, a oneness, to become one. And even with our relationship with God, it's the same concept. Like Jesus is the bridge that connects us to God, but at the end of the day, it's one body of Christ, one family. It's that you see that pattern of the oneness. It's the same design, the way He set it up. It's the same concept of that unity and just kind of,
And another thing is why people get married at times.
Yeah.
And I hate to sound, like this, but the majority of the time, people do it out of, in a sense, lust.
Lust, yes.
Or
societal pressures.
Status and
societal,
where you are. And,
yeah.
Showing off and stuff like that, kind of, being boastful.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be able to be
a power couple.
Without any spiritual, mainly any spiritual connection or belief systems.
Or even mindfulness. Like, they don't ever really, they're not self-aware, maybe.
At times, yes.
Yeah.
And you have to have the same belief core, no matter if it's, it doesn't, you don't have to agree on everything. But when it comes to your values with your spiritual walk, I think it's very important that you share that with your spouse also.
Oh, definitely, because that person's going to help you get, or push you away, one of the two.
Exactly, and if somebody's like-minded with you, there's a lot less times of arguments and disagreements on things that are important, especially within the relationship.
Yeah, and things are going to be handled a lot differently if someone's more of the type that, they don't want to talk about things and really just ignore problems, and that's their style of,
coping or whatever.
Yeah, and the other person is more wanting to talk everything through and really just make sure everything's corrected and healed and really not just leave it like however. So it could cause issues with, how people even see the importance of even resolving problems. Like they might, that's a big issue. That just would cause a ton of issues.
And that's what a lot of relationships fail with is compromising with one another.
Right.
Whether it's about their kids or money or
mm-hmm.
who holds the best job position. It becomes even a competition.
But whatever issue that they are like arguing about, it becomes who's right and who's wrong, not about let's do what's right for the kid or like let's do what's right for, it's about just doing the right thing, and it becomes like, no, my way is the best way and your way, you're wrong, basically. And it's kind of overshadowed by what's just doing the right thing.
And it becomes a form of defiance, and that's why relationships tend to fall apart is the defiance or the unwillingness to just submit and say, at times, hey, look, you're right, or let's do it together.
Let's try to compromise. You won't get your way entirely, but I won't get my way. But like, let's meet in the middle somewhere.
And I think we learned that in grade school. Like, be nice and kind to others and fair with people. Don't try to do everything so you can have the most of everything, whatever it may be. It doesn't. Being that way doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work, and you're not happy even if you do get everything that you wanted, and it doesn't. You're still not you're not happy because it's not a balanced, relationship or give and take how it should be. I think people really struggle with seeing things from other people's perspectives at times.
Definitely.
And I think all humans do. I think it's something that's at one point or another we all do that, but I think it becomes a problem when you live your life that way all the time, and it's not just like in one incident. It's all the time. You cannot see things or be compassionate or just considerate.
And that's the most human beings is that they don't have any compassion towards something or even remote care for something if they've never experienced or gone through it themselves.
That's
They
true.
have to go through
That's
those
true.
things before they actually have some sort of sympathy or compassion towards it.
Yes.
And that's a big problem, because it shouldn't be based on only your experiences that you can understand
You can
somebody.
sympathize with.
You know, there's things that I've never gone through, and would pray that nobody goes through, but just because I haven't gone through it does not mean that I shouldn't be there for that person and care just as the same as if I had gone through something and
Right.
understand it.
And be harsh about it and kind of very judgmental or very black and white about it. There's not, sometimes it's not that easy in certain situations.
Exactly.
There's not just a easy, you know, answer to things. It's complicated.
It is very complicated.
And sometimes you have to really be understanding and really give people some, you know, consideration, and just kind of not push them away or shame them into thinking that like it's just that easy. Certain things are just so cut and dry. It's just black and white, and it's just like that's how it is.
And I mean, that's what, you know, with Jesus, he came to be a doctor, you know. He came to be
a servant
and do everything he did for others, to show them what that does, and most of his miracles were done without actual miracles, you know.
Right.
It was all done with things that we can do as regular human beings.
Right.
And that was the powerful,
that was the impact
and
he had on people, you know.
It shows that what love and servitude can do.
It can transform a person.
It
could
transforms.
save a person.
Yes,
it
exactly.
could save a person. It could literally be, I mean, it's important in a sense, and a lot of people, that's what he came to do, to show people, hey, you need to like start doing these things. You can't just live in your little box. You know?
And I think a lot of people tend to believe that Jesus came to, you know, teach his commandments and pave a way to heaven, right? Which he did. But he did a lot more than that. You know, he literally was here to teach us how to be in amongst our peers and against adversity and against different cultures, and he wanted everybody to find that unity, because that's what we represent in him is a marriage.
Because we are all connected, whether people want to admit that or not. We are all connected. No one is like above anyone. We're all connected. We're all equal. We all have that invitation to be part of that. You know what I mean? His family and stuff.
And that he wishes that no one should perish. You know, and people tend to just destroy their lives in the human form, and then probably just tearing their souls apart because they're not happy and they're lost, you know.
And it's very hard too, when you see any other person suffering. It's extremely hard to watch.
Unless you're like a cold-hearted person,
That's
you know,
what I mean.
which I couldn't ever know how to be that way.
When they kind of do that, it's hard because you feel so much compassion for them, and it's hard to watch someone suffer. It's not easy, and even when they do it to themselves and it's out of defiance, it's still very hard.
Definitely.
And that's what Jesus, I think he came to like show us that even his relationship with us is about, he submitted to us he sacrificed his life for us.
Yep.
And in return, his bride, like we're his bride, the church, are supposed to be obedient, and it's supposed to be, we submit back to him. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like we submit to each other. It's not about authority or one being in charge. Like he gives to us so much that we couldn't ever pay that price, and it's all we got to do in return is just really be obedient and just be teachable and be willing to learn and grow and to not stay stuck on things, and just to kind of be the best versions of ourselves that we could possibly be for, you know, the benefit of everyone, not even just ourselves, but everyone.
And I do challenge everybody to, even if you don't believe it, even just try it one time in their life. Just truly give it some time and some effort,
like a genuine, just really try
and see what it does in your life, how it impacts you. Because I can promise you one thing: it is absolutely the truth. Mm-hmm. No matter what people want to believe as far as religion goes, what Jesus taught is absolute truth and the best way for our lives. It's not rules. It's not what you can't do. It's what you can do, really.
It's about, really, with him, he was very self-aware and mindful, and he wanted to help people. So he didn't want to sit there and argue with like the Pharisees, because that, where would that have gotten him? He had to have like emotional intelligence to kind of really deal with people in a loving way that really would affect them and touch their hearts. Because
more than any miracle that he did
yeah,
do.
and it wasn't about miracles, it wasn't about rules, it wasn't about tradition, it wasn't about church rituals, any of those things.
King conquering everyone else,
yeah, it wasn't about a government type
Mm-mm.
thing. It was none of those things. It wasn't about prosperity. It wasn't to do any of the things that most humans pursue and care for. And honestly, our goals, like those are goals of people in a sense. Those things are,
and it's put above God,
right? And it doesn't help people. And at times, doing it the way Jesus did it, it actually does solve problems. It makes things easier when at times you just forgive, or at times you show someone grace, or at times you're understanding and you just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier, and it just makes you feel like there's nothing that can defeat you when you try to be more mindful and not argue with people and just kind of relax and just kind of not be so harsh with people, because people, I mean, we all make mistakes, we all have our faults, but you don't have to shame and condemn them and always bring it up those things and keep score.
Definitely, because if that's how we're going to do that with one another,
that's not going to motivate them.
And God's going to, that's, if He's like that, then we're all doomed,
Exactly, and that's not how it works, though. It works, like Jesus, he came for the sinners, which is all of us. He did
not
things,
for the righteous.
His whole life was for us, and that's an amazing, beautiful thing. And he showed a path of love, and his way, you're strong. Certain things don't get to you as easily because you have the ability to let things go and be understanding and just move forward. I mean, the world's way would leave a person stuck, because the world's way is to complain and to not let it go and
blame,
to have grievance and to, all those things that keep a person from really improving themselves and really having any growth or progress in their spiritual journey.
And that's where people, I think always have this void inside of not feeling fulfilled with their lives.
Right.
And they try to do everything else they can think of to make them feel happy inside, and the reason they don't is because those things are all for nothing.
Temporary.
They're materialistic things that for now are here, and you're not building nothing inside your soul.
But like even Jesus said, like they can be gods for some people, like
which they become, definitely.
But those gods, they don't love you back. They can't help you. They can't like save you. They can't do anything for you. They're just objects. They're man-made objects.
Exactly.
That can't love you the way God can. Can't give you that strength. Can't give you that like perseverance and resilience to just be strong and to be at peace and to choose peace instead of, complain or grievance, and to hold people
and turning that to instead of gratefulness and gratitude towards everything that happens in your life, good and bad. And that's one thing that's hard is when there's bad situations, we tend to get upset.
That's understandable in a sense, because it's hard to be grateful when you lose everything, but there is still something you can be grateful for, and maybe not that specific thing, but there's other things in your life you could be grateful for.
And that's the point I was getting to is, people gotta remember there are two powers that exist, and God is God, He's above all, but there's a defiant one. He himself has an adversary.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want life, and he doesn't want life in any aspect. He wants to control and take that from everybody
and taint everything and
he destroy. What is his purpose? He's a destructor.
Right.
He destroys things, and he cannot build.
No.
He destroys. And what does God do?
He creates.
He's nothing but create and give and bless and with abundance. That's what prosperity is.
He restores and he transforms.
And he never destroys you.
If anything, you level up. You're
Exactly.
you're never. There's no disadvantage or any type of negative in being a part of that family and that
Exactly.
belief system.
Exactly. So that's a lot of people. They mock Jesus or how people try to even follow him, you know, because they think it's a joke and it's, you know, we're just wishful thinkers or something, you know, and they do all these things without even giving any true effort into trying stuff.
Or they have a lot of bias and preconceived like ways of thinking about Christians that it's, I don't know,
We're harsh and judgmental.
Stereotypical in a sense, that we're stereotypical, boring squares. I don't know, we're, a lot of those things aren't even true, but for whatever reason, that's a stereotype of Christians, that we're judgmental even, or whatever. There's a lot of false ones.
You know, we don't know how to have fun in any way, you know, because we can't break no rules.
Right, and then that's not true. Like, we're human just like everyone else.
We live the same lives.
But the difference is we are willing to be accountable and will even be more remorseful because we understand the impact that our mistakes and our faults at times can have on everyone around us. That's the difference. We're willing to find solutions, not problems, and really even acknowledge those things, which is hard for people to do. That accountability thing is really hard.
Again, yeah.
And a Christian might be more willing to really just do the inner work even. Criticism doesn't really affect you as much because you, as a Christian, your goal is to always learn and grow. So, I mean, you're always wanting to improve. So those things, if anything, you know that you don't know it all, and you're like, okay, well, I need to work on this, and I need to work on that.
And even if you do know quite a bit, don't use that over people either.
No,
you know,
no,
you have to find that balance.
That's not how God that's not how God even wants people to be towards like one another. Even when Jesus came, he showed nothing but love to them, because love is gonna like really soften and affect a person. Anything other than love is not gonna do much for a person other than they're gonna feel judged, they're gonna feel like, you know, all these negative things. But true acceptance, true love, and just that unconditional, like, it's okay, I accept you throughout all of your faults, and it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it really motivates, that motivates people. People aren't motivated by criticism and, oh, you're like shaming all the time.
And tearing down.
Yeah, and there's a difference between accountability and shame. Like, when someone's shaming you, they never let it go. They'll bring it up multiple times, and like, it's something that you're always put down for. Accountability is like more of a one-time thing, and they don't always bring it up and keep score, in a sense. And shaming someone is going to make them eventually feel unworthy, and that's not going to motivate them, and that's just going to tear a person down, and that's not right.
And that's the other part of it, you know, going back to how our marriage has been successful, and a lot of people, I feel like, don't understand what forgiveness is.
No, they don't. And I think, I'm going to be honest, you've taught me, you have really been a really big impact, and I'm so grateful for how you've really helped me understand it more. I mean, I think I understood forgiveness, but you really helped me get to like a whole other level of understanding and really putting it in practice, and how it really is just a powerful thing. I mean,
it's the problem is people think forgiveness is like the other party that wronged you needs to apologize,
right,
and then you'll forgive them.
Right. Like, they have to ask for it.
Yeah, and truthfully, that's not even close to what forgiveness is about. Right. It's about, when you forgive somebody, it's not for the sake of the person who wronged you. It's for the sake of yourself. You do it and let go of the hurt. Therefore, you can continue growing rather than be held back in a place of hurt and harm.
It's a conscious choice that you say, I don't want to stay stuck here. I want to move forward, because I know that there's so much more to life than staying stuck with these emotions. It's one of those empowering things that you want to let go of and release, because you don't want to have a repetitive, way of thinking and feeling, and
it becomes the trait of Satan.
And then how can you really grow and improve if you're
stunting yourself?
Yeah, exactly. You're just on repeat, in a sense. And it helps everyone, like you said. Like, some people would like an apology or think that that's how it works.
Yeah, and they're probably entitled to one if they've been wronged.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But even if they don't, it's okay, because you don't have to have one for you to forgive them. But
and once again, it's more for oneself rather than for them.
It's like, it's so you're not in bondage in that same like stuck in the past. It's more of like you're released from being stuck in that state of mind and those feelings and stuff like that.
And
it's like a prisoner, a slave.
And I promise you, if you were able to understand and comprehend that and actually put it in action in your life, it does wonders.
It does.
I used to be a very short-tempered person with a very short fuse.
Mm-hmm.
I would get upset pretty quickly and not like always angry, but I did have bursts of anger,
mm-hmm.
towards things because I didn't understand that.
I think all humans at one point or another have like a little period where like things just they don't have like things irritate them, they don't have tolerance for, and they just feel like impatient even. And I think we all go through that.
Yes.
Some people when they're young, like you said, and then other people it's not till they're older that they start getting like real impatient and just kind of don't have tolerance for certain things. And I think we all go through that, but it's important that we understand it and we don't continue to let it like control our lives.
Exactly. And for such a defiant, combative, group of people in this world, it's crazy how they are defiant towards what they should be opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the way that they want to be is opposite from what they're doing.
They want the results from being that way, but they don't want to actually be that way.
Exactly. And that's the thing with God and Jesus is the whole transformation of who you are and your soul.
He restores you. He literally heals you.
And alters you completely. You could be one way and then you're another.
When you go through that transformation, he can give your life so much purpose because without that, it's you look at everything so differently. But this other way, you feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself, mm-hmm. and you see the bigger picture, mm-hmm. and it excites you, and it makes you feel like you're a part of something great and strong because that's.
And that gives you the purpose in your life. It makes you feel like you are accomplishing things,
the important things,
and your soul begs for that. It needs that. We might in our minds think that everything else that we put as a high importance,
our goals
is what we need, and truthfully, none of that matters to the soul. Even if you don't have the necessarily a belief system, your soul longs for those things.
I think all humans need goals, but the right goals is what the issue is on how to find that and stuff.
And when you could take yourself out of the equation and put the goal is for somebody else, which would be in our case God's will. Mm-hmm. When you put His will above what you want and what you think is the best way, it's a smooth ride.
And you do see the impact and how it like spreads and helps others, and like it's a cool thing when you see that. Wow, like this is a powerful thing, and this is a great thing, and I feel like I want to do more of it. Like it's almost like it motivates you to be like super. Like helpful and just what else can I do?
Exactly. It becomes like like somebody who's crazy for exercising.
Right.
It's hard to stop. And it's not. He's not just a character in a story. Like literally, how I'm married to you and I physically see you. Uh-huh. I have come to know Jesus in a relationship just the same. Mm-hmm. It's a real being. It's a real person. It's real love. Mm-hmm. And because I have that comfort in that. I have trust. I have love. I have a lot of love to give. I have caring. I want to do things for you because I want to. Mm-hmm. He's literally changed everything about me, and it could change for anybody that way, mm-hmm. if you just put your trust in it.
And then certain things just become easier when you start like really embracing His way of living, mm-hmm. which is true living. It becomes easier. Things become a lot more less stressful and less intimidating even.
Definitely. And you feel like you're a lot stronger that way, mm-hmm. and you are. A lot of things can't defeat you as easily as some people crumble.
In the past. Certain things in my past that used to kind of really get me down or sad.
Stuck in a certain place.
They don't have that same power.
Yeah.
Once I feel like I've really started undergoing that process of transforming and growing and really improving, I feel like those things have no power the way they used to. It's just not even the same thing. And of course, certain things I feel like, of course, are going to be sad or whatever, but
Definitely.
I don't feel like they have that power to really put me in a bad, place of mentally or spiritually anymore. Like they can't hurt me
or
anymore.
even using that with to
Yes,
create doubt and confusion
or
and
anger or any of those things. I have this understanding, and I have, if anything, I'm grateful for the bad things that I've experienced in life.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have those bad things, and if I didn't have a way to overcome those bad things.
And
I
have
think
trust in something that knowing something will take care of you.
when you see the power it has, that you can literally overcome something that you once defeated you and put you in a corner, it's a great thing.
There's one of the scriptures I like is where it says, don't fear the person who could kill the man, but fear the one who can kill your soul.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing you got to realize in your mind over time is what truthfully this life's about. And it isn't on this earth.
No, it's an experience we're supposed to experience, and obviously God wants us to enjoy certain things here. But it's mainly He wants us to, above all else, learn as much as we can, because He doesn't like seeing us suffer. Just how we were talking about earlier, it's hard to watch someone suffer. He feels the same way, and He's like, but this is something you got to learn, and I hope you learn, because if anything, you'll become strong if you do it this way, and you're just a teachable person.
And that's the thing. I've yet to feel or think one negative thing it's came out of changing my life in that aspect. I don't have any negative feelings towards any of it. Like I can't say there's one thing about it. Well, there's a side effect from it. Whatever you're doing. But no, God is perfect in His love, and even just how He did give us this earth. It wasn't originally intended to be how it is, but we know the story.
It's infiltrated by, and it's set up a certain way.
And but He did even give us free will, which is another form of love.
It's a beautiful gift, because literally that choice is like amazing. It's you literally whatever you choose.
You can't be controlled with a choice.
And He will respect completely, and that's awesome. So how is that not just or fair? Like, you literally can decide whichever way you want to go, and it's going to be okay with Him. He's not going to be upset with you, or it's not. He's like, okay, it's cool, it's fine,
And it hurts His heart.
It hurts His heart, but He's also very understanding and respects it above all else. That's just how it is. It hurts, but then He's like, oh well, they have that right, and if that's just how.
Yeah, because He's not trying to be a slave driver like Satan does. He wants to control every aspect of people.
And He doesn't want to see people suffering. And that's the path you'll go down if you are easily triggered. If you don't have that peace, love, understanding, mindfulness,
you have
any of those
nothing
things
in your corner. If you're a boxer, you need a coach in your corner that's going to give you the right advice and tell you the right things, rather than the other person with just chaos.
And sometimes even when we're so tired and we don't think we have anything left in us, it's that little bit of adrenaline that just we could pick up and move mountains, literally. We can. It's that little bit of willpower and that motivation to just really even try and believe in themselves. It comes to pass and manifest into something of that's how storybook stories are told about how the underdog beat the
when we watch movies or read books, do you want to go have a story that the person feels like they never could accomplish nothing and all that? Nothing's gonna change in life, in the whole world.
As humans, we love underdog stories. Yeah, we just do.
They're the greatest. That's how Hollywood's become what it is.
Even influencers and people who motivate others, they love to see people
fight through the odds.
Yeah, it's an awesome thing.
And that's what God gives you.
It motivates them to be like, I could do that too, in a sense. And that's kind of what Jesus was. He didn't have an army. He didn't have wealth. He didn't come with any of those things that would help him really protect him even. Exactly. He came defenseless and literally got on his hands and knees, served people, touched people, sat with them, interacted with them, gave them time, sometimes just really gave them the love that they deserve. And He was just like, I see you.
Exactly.
I see you.
And here's another topic in which Jesus covers, even in politics and the political field.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously in America a lot of division, and as a global thing, there's a massive amount of division, and how people feel that things should go, and in law, it should all be based off of something simple as the Ten Commandments. Something as simple as the principles that Jesus did teach on.
Right, because those are complete fairness and equality and respect everyone.
That's true justice.
Yeah, because they don't. The Ten Commandments doesn't leave out anyone. It's parents are obviously has to be respected. Elders, like there's not anyone that it's biased towards.
Yeah, there is no agenda
like,
with it.
There's no anyone at a disadvantage when you follow those things. There's not anyone that can say, well, this put me at a real disadvantage and this is unfair and I'm oppressed.
Exactly.
If anything, you're protected. All of those things protect every individual from their rights and their life even, it's...
And exactly. And it's, instead of, politics that we see today, it's based on what they think is better for everyone else rather than what is better for everyone else.
Right, just doing the right thing. It's not about your money or whatever the agenda is. It's about the people. You say that this government is set up for the people. I don't see how you are doing your job if you're doing things that actually hurt us. If anything, I feel like that it's almost a crime because you took an oath to do something and you're doing the complete opposite, and you're lying basically. You lied to us. And you should that accountability. It's no one should ever be above the law to ever really take certain rights from you.
Yeah, and that's what's happening in our country today. Is a lot of what we see as more freedoms is actually a lot more suppression for what those good values and morals are. Mm-hmm. It's become more and more corrupt to where, the law is no longer protecting your constitution or your free will in life.
And that's the thing too. If people want to have their rights respected, they have to also respect other people's rights as well.
Exactly.
So if you're given rights, like for example, let's say the LGBTQ community, mm-hmm. you can't really expect to get those rights and really oppress anyone else's, in a sense.
Exactly. I don't agree with those.
But you should have that right, that freedom of choice. But don't like cross the line and take away mine in the process of you gaining yours. That doesn't mean that I have to now I have none.
Yeah, and I don't believe in America that we have a specific day or week set aside for us to go marching around, and say what we feel. We're not allowed to really do that.
We have that right, and that's fine if people want to do that, but you should never say, well, I could do it, but you can't.
Yeah, and it's basically a holiday for them. Mm-hmm. In fairness, shouldn't we have a holiday too then?
Right, but that would not happen. It's not seen like that.
It would
not
be
viewed that way.
An issue, really.
It really would be, and that's in everyone's... That's everyone's perspective in everything. Politics, even at jobs, mm-hmm. and family. Everyone wants to have the benefits of certain things, reap the benefit, but they don't want to
put the seed in
and give the same equality back that they're expecting.
Exactly.
And they refuse to give others what they won't give. People expect consideration, compassion, forgiveness, love, mm-hmm. all those things,
without
understanding,
ever giving it out.
But they refuse to give those things. So it's hard to give someone something that they refuse to do themselves.
Yeah.
So
and it's
in
more
relationships,
it's a self-love thing rather than selfless love for everyone
the
around
greater
you.
good,
yeah.
Not just the good of how can I benefit or what can I do that puts me at an advantage. Really,
and that's where people it's a lot of people claim to be maybe not so much Christian, but in this day and age a lot of people claim to be spiritual.
Yes.
Well, if that were true, once again Jesus has to be the center of that because
He's the bridge.
Exactly, and he if we're following laws that are alongside what Jesus is wanting from us, you wouldn't be pro-abortion,
right.
Because that's a soul.
Mm-hmm.
If you're spiritual, how could you do something to an innocent soul?
Right, against humanity. If you claim that you are for rights, that's kind of like a contradiction.
Yeah, you can't have rights if you're killing or taking away something,
right.
Removing it. Mm-hmm. You're removing that person's rights in life.
And it's not your choice or it shouldn't be your...
It was, your choice.
It was your choice, but it shouldn't be your choice to silence the other side and say you're wrong. That's just not...
And call that a freedom or a liberty.
And say that that's equality or justice in any sense.
And that could go for any topic in the, what a lot of people stand as political. Like, you say you're one thing, but you're pro this, and
it contradicts itself in a sense.
And you can't be like that when you're talking about Jesus's kingdom. When you're talking about,
there's no bias. There's no even how people kind of condemn each other. There's none of that. There's more of an understanding, and there's just a lot of love to really get people to compromise.
Exactly.
And to really even respect. You don't have to agree with me, but just respect my freedom of choice. I want to choose something different from you, and it's okay. It different doesn't mean I have to be your enemy.
Exactly.
And that's in relationships even. People always want to be right, and they think of it as like, oh, if you don't say I'm right, I'm going to be mad at you, you're my enemy, I'm going to start a fight. It's not like that. It shouldn't be, at least. I mean, people could disagree and really find some common ground, and I actually like talking with people that think completely different than me, because I don't agree with them, but it gives me more understanding on why they think the way they do. And it's interesting.
They make points that I at times I never would have thought of on my own.
It's really interesting. I like those kinds of conversations. I love diversity. It's something that God loves, because he made so many diverse people, cultures, and I also appreciate the diversity in the world. I love that there's so much things and people and cultures that are so different. It's interesting and it's fascinating, and I love it, because...
And that's the sad part, is the people that claim to stand with Jesus go and argue and fight with an opposing belief with another party, and they sit there and argue and get nowhere, rather than...
They add fuel to the fire.
Yeah, if you stand for Jesus, you're going to take time and hear what they have to say. We may not agree, but it's healthy to discuss things and see where everyone's coming from.
And come to the agreement at the end of the day. Well, what's fair is fair. You don't try to take my rights away. I don't take yours away. And that's equality. That's true equality. You have your choices and I have my choices, and we can live however we want, but no one should try to, shame or condemn or even prevent or whatever. They should just respect. At the end of it, that's the goal, is to come to a place of respect. I don't agree with you, but I respect you have the right to do it, your free will.
What does law even stand for? What is the point of law?
Law is to keep order.
Okay, there's one word, order.
It's to have a functional society. Without law, there would be no functional anything. I mean, there would be a free-for-all. It would be chaotic. It would not be fair, obviously.
And even in the court system, what is the outside the courthouse? What do they always have in front of them? A scale, right? A scale. Well, why does it seem the scale's always tipped the wrong way for one side and the other one completely... And
facts are ignored too. Like, that's the whole point of court. Like you said, they look at the facts. They look at the evidence. And it's not about feelings. It's about the facts. And those should be also respected and acknowledged. But people with facts, sometimes they're in denial. They're like, no. They let their feelings really get them all riled up, and they kind of lose a lot of logic in a sense. They don't, I don't know, it doesn't help them.
And then it just causes that chaos and that's, and dysfunction, when something that's literally means to keep order is disorderly.
And facts matter too. We can obviously be on different ends, but let's look at the facts, and how about we test it based on the actual factual evidence,
and rather than something that you think or feel.
Yeah, and actually have an actual argument and basis for supporting or not supporting something. Exactly.
So it shows very prevalently that Jesus and what he came and showed all of us.
He came for the sinners. He came for us in the most loving, perfect way.
And the depths and topics that it reaches in your personal life is nothing else in this world can actually come close to something like that. And I think that's why our relationship has lasted and will last. I have complete trust in you, because I know that you trust in Jesus, and I trust Jesus. You know, I know that I can put all my trust in Him
Well, and
rather
for me,
than
and you help me even get closer to Him.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it
We
works.
help each other.
That's why it works. If it were anything other than that, we'd be at opposition all the time. We'd be at, you know.
Yeah, because I'm a pretty I can
Because
become.
if it was based on what I think, like, and when you would argue what you think, we'd get nowhere.
Exactly, because
Like,
I'm a little combative.
We have that common ground. We're like, well, you know, we have that almost referee to hold us accountable, and that's what I expect you to do for me, and we do for each other, and it's a great thing that actually it works so well. And I also trust that I know you know the right things, and if anything, I want to always encourage you because I believe in you. I know you're a strong man of faith. I know you're a very smart person, caring person. You're just an amazing person. I know your potential. I would want nothing more for you than for you to get to a point where be the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
And that's not going to happen if you feel unworthy, if I'm always complaining or putting you down.
Exactly.
And it's just, I want to see everything. I want to see you, babe, just the sky's the limit. Because I believe in you, and I know that you're just this amazing person that can change lives and just kind of have a big impact on people.
And
I would never want you to think that I don't believe in you, because people that really can really damage a person. If someone's doubted or they feel like they're not, they're shamed and feel unworthy, they won't.
And I grew up with my fair share of that, of being told that,
you weren't good at something like schools and stuff, your teachers.
And said, that I couldn't really do much.
They look at the negative instead of looking at your strengths. They just look at what you can't do. Oh, you can't do math, so you're a bad student. That's not fair to say.
Exactly, because as I got older, I am pretty smart.
You're very smart.
The thing is, I guess I was just built different than most people, because what catches my interest is if we talk about Bible topics, I will sit there and study it and talk with you for hours and hours.
We just go down these.
School just didn't catch my interest. Very few subjects did. And it's because, those things are important to learn. We got to have some education, but
some of it I really never even ever used. Truthfully, I can honestly say I never used in the real world.
And those people that got certain degrees and all those things are honestly some of the most. I don't want to say it's something rude, but in a sense, ignorant or uneducated.
They believe whatever's in a textbook, and anyone can rewrite history or whatever.
Which has been done.
They don't question it or put it to the test, and that's where they lack putting their logic. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's what good is you could know every school book, even the Bible. People that memorize it, it doesn't matter if you don't truthfully understand it and can put it in practice.
Yeah, because it's actually a life.
Because it's something that's very, if you have in your life, it's very obvious, and it's so powerful that you see it.
Exactly.
It's that powerful, and it's something that helps you, but
Exactly.
So overall though, babe, I really feel like our relationship has been a blessing because it's showed me so much of myself, and it's been really encouraging to have someone help me get closer with God. I feel like that's something I'm so very grateful for.
And I'm glad I could provide some of that for your life. Most of the credit is to God, though. He works in our lives.
But He gave me a partner to help. That's so great.
I wouldn't be where I am today without you. There's just it's a guarantee I wouldn't be where I am today. You've given me support and you always have believed in me and told me that I can accomplish a lot more than I was feeling like I could at certain times. And you've been able to, through you doing that, I've been able to feel fulfilled in my life, because I am able, I've always just wanted to help others. Even from kindergarten or first grade, I joined the mediators in school because I thought it was cool to be able to be the neutral ground and help both sides.
Resolutions,
and I thought that was cool. So and you've given me the path kind of too to be able to do that. By always being there and in my corner no matter what, and never giving up on me. At times I'm a difficult person.
And we've had our ups and downs, especially when we were younger, but it got a lot easier when we stopped focusing on what I wanted, what you wanted. We looked at it as, well, what does God want, and how can we accomplish that?
Exactly.
So I think it's important to find someone with those same beliefs. It will definitely help make the relationship more sustainable.
And even if it's just for yourself, it will do wonders in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It will make your life just that much easier in a place that's chaotic at times, and there's a lot to
Get you
manage
down.
and get through,
Yeah.
in your life, and you kind of don't have this strength and energy doing it your way by yourself. Like, you need help, whether it is a spouse or
Family
God,
member,
God will
friend.
always provide that.
Right. And that's what Jesus was to a lot of people. He was their family, he was their friend, he was their brother, he was literally all of those things to a lot of people, to just show them, hey, you're not alone.
Exactly, and that's what I think a lot of people feel, is that they're alone, and they don't have to be. It's sad to see that everyone thinks they're alone in a world full of so many people. Like,
Right.
I mean, there's billions of billions of people on this earth, and how could you feel alone? But if you don't have that in your life, I truly encourage you to seek Jesus in that. I really, truly would hope that you would give it an honest try and really actually try. Like, when in life, like, everyone has this wishful thinking.
Oh, definitely.
They want to. They wish things could be different. They want their lives to be different. They want
easier, even.
God can provide that for you, on His end, with only so much.
Right.
You can't change or have anything change for you if you don't actually do something to change your situation and your paradigm.
And meet Him halfway. He's already done. I mean, he's at the halfway mark already, waiting for people to just do their part. He can't do it all. I think He's already done so much, in a sense. It's crazy.
It's
it's even paid for. Like, your debt's paid. Like,
exactly.
in a sense, it's forgiven.
But we can't have a wishful thinking and expect anything in our reality to actually change for the better. Or if you've been doing things a certain way this whole time in your life, and you still are unhappy, or you still don't have somebody to call your other half, or even anyone to believe in, or any of that. If it's been like that in your life, that's because you've been doing it certain ways this whole time.
And some of it's a choice too. Some people choose. You choose. Everyone's responsible for their own emotions and their feelings. If someone hurts my feelings, yeah, they hurt my feelings. But if I choose to stay upset with them, that's a choice that I have to be accountable and responsible for, and I can't blame on the other person.
Exactly.
So you have a choice on how you view things, and if you want to stay mad, that's really not that other person's fault.
And in a sense, you're giving them a control over you that whole time.
Right, because they do have it. It's like bondage.
And they're not even probably present at that time.
Right.
So you don't want to let somebody control you that's not even around.
And it's not even a real thing. It's like you're doing it to yourself.
Exactly. It's all based on your paradigm,
your perspective, and your attitude. If you have a bad attitude, then yeah, you're probably gonna have a bad day, because you're always gonna look at the negative.
Exactly. So I definitely encourage people to genuinely try it, though.
Try just to have
see what it does, because it obviously, if you're feeling down and out, and you've been doing things a certain way for so many years,
try something different,
and it's not working. So give this a shot and see if it does anything for you. And it's not always a fast thing. It's not something.
It takes time. Progress takes time, and there's steps and stages. It's not gonna be like, oh, just you're okay.
Exactly. And especially when you're trying to do that, that's when the enemy, of course, is gonna want to attack you the hardest and bring you down, because he doesn't want you to find that peace.
Right.
He doesn't want you to find Jesus, to show you that a life that is completely amazing and different, the way He intended it to be.
Everything.
I mean, we all wish we had peace on earth, and we once
it's
again,
a choice at
wishful
times.
thinking doesn't get you anywhere. You have to put into action things, and start with yourself. Start with yourself always, and push it towards a.
I completely agree.
Be better of a person for your, not only for yourself, but to show others.
Right.
You don't do that, then we're all being the same people, running around trying to
our way
be the number one person in the whole world, and
like a competition instead of a collective,
So I definitely hope that
the best advice I feel like I could give people is mindfulness. It starts with mindfulness, whether you want to put that towards a relationship or your professional life or whatever. Being mindful will help you in every one of those aspects. Really, really consciously making decisions that are well thought and well you control instead of they control you.
Exactly.
So that's
I
the
think
best
that's
thing. Yeah.
yeah. That's
So-
definitely. I agree to that all the way.
So, if anything, we encourage people to do, to take the time and really reflect on certain things that are bothering them and really do things differently to make the situation better. I feel like a lot of people are, sometimes fear is a reason that they don't want to try. They doubt and are fearful, and those things are imaginary because you have potential in you to overcome those things, and that's what Satan's scared of. So I just really hope everyone just takes into consideration that at the end of the day, everything and every problem could be solved with some mindfulness. It's you first. So
Want to end this in a prayer?
yes, hon, would you say a prayer?
Yes. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for having this moment to be able to discuss you, Lord. I thank you for having me understand that by me submitting myself to you, I can have a life that's worth living, Lord, and I have a marriage that is fruitful and it will withstand all storms, Lord. And to have that trust in somebody, you know, in a world that is so doubtful, I pray that others can find that type of feeling in you and search for you. As the scripture says, Lord, you said if we knock, you will answer. I pray that people start to really put into perspective what really matters and the future for themselves, you know. I just pray that you continue to work in their lives as you have in ours and continue working in our lives, Lord. We're eternally grateful for everything you do, and you know, your love is just unending, dear Lord. But it's all these things that we pray in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.